209 here. I'm at this draw hunt. We're looking this bottom ridge here that goes all the way through here. We saw a coyote. I got movement off here to the left. Hopefully it comes down into this valley. But this is a state park here. If you go over that way, there's like picnic tables and stuff. It's pretty crazy. I heard about 15, 16 shots so far. Way off in the distance. This is all dunes back up in here. Way up on that huge dune mountain. Sand hill. It's pretty crazy. A lot of squirrels. So I'm just gonna sit here and chill and see what comes back down through this valley. I got the old Benelli out with some turnball slugs. So hopefully something will come working its way through here. So I'll be back. So if you look down, this is what I don't like about this. So it's really steep and there's just multiple gullies. If these deer get on this ridge, just like what I witnessed, they're gonna pick you off. There's no way. There's no way you're gonna get one unless you're sitting off one of these ridges. You gotta be off one of these ridges. There's no way you can do this sitting up on top of here. Because we had Ryan on this backside and I was on this backside. Well, he got made because those deer, I don't know if I can walk up here. Oh, this is another thing I hate about it. I got a bad knee and my back's all ate up. But once they get on these ridges like this, like that's a huge dune back over there where the blue sky is. Once they get on here, they're gonna pick you off. You can't sit up here. It's almost impossible. They'll smell you a mile away. And there's nothing you can do about it. I was sitting over here, down in this gully right here, and I could hear that doe on the ridge over there blowing. And then Ryan was over here, and the wind's coming. It's kind of swirling in this general area, and that's not good. They're gonna sit up on this, like on this hill, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, people, run!" You know. So, I think I'm gonna get off this ridge, man. You know, like see if I'm sitting up here, and the deer's down in there, they're gonna figure it out real quick. So, I'll wait for the other guys. I heard some shots, but I don't think it was them. I tried to cut those. There's 3 doe. I tried to work my way down through here and try and catch them from the back side. It's just so thick through there. No, I ain't playing that game either. Sticker bushes and everything else, it just sucks. This is not what I like to do, you know. Like mini Steve Rhinella shit. I watch it on TV, I don't want to live it. Alright, so we've moved quite a few spots. And there's a creek that runs through here. It's getting kind of warm. So my thought process is they're gonna come over here to get a drink of water. That's my thought process, hopefully. 'Cause I'm really tired of climbing hills and valleys and shit. So there's like a playground and stuff around here. This is crazy. As you can see, I'll come off down that ridge. Here comes here comes Ryan. Hilarious. Yeah, I'm not gonna be up on that ridge, but this is like a picnic area. A picnic area. I got a shotgun on my arm. It's crazy. We go talk to Ryan. There's some acorns, all kinds of acorn shit. I was sitting at this picnic table and wait for him. Here comes Ryan. This is hilarious. Oh, they're staying right there. We go see what they're gonna do. All right, so Ryan shot a deer with 30 minutes to spare. He shot it off this ledge and he says it zipped down into this gully. So now we gotta go find it down into this gully. And we're 176 feet above Lake Michigan. All right, we'll see what we get. All right, to sum this one up, I'm gonna call this the brown and down hunt, okay? So for people that aren't figuring this out, is there's an early gun season sometimes, and it's in state parks. So they shut down the park for 2 days. They invite hunters to go in there and to thin out the herd, thin out the population of deer. This particular county that I went to, it was at the Dunes State Park. And I knew it existed, but I've never been there in my life. So I'm going in here blind, and I was invited to go. I didn't get drawn. I was invited to go. And you have that because some people don't show up for this when they get drawn. So you kind of take their spot because they want people to go in there and shoot deer. So they want as many people in there as possible, which I don't quite agree with, but I digress. So in this particular part, there's a lot of car and deer problems, especially because this runs through a bit of a highway area. Plus you got neighborhoods and subdivisions in some spots, and these deer just don't stay there. They go and roam and they find these neighborhoods, and this is where you get the pictures of deer eating out of gardens and bird feeders. So they want to kind of thin this population down. So when we went there, even the people at the gate were like, look, you shoot whatever you can, whether it's a button buck or whether it's a spike. This isn't where you're going to go find your Boone and Crockett. This is not. I mean, sometimes, you could probably find a good sized deer. Stan shot a pretty nice one out of there because he's been drawn for this hunt on a previous occasion. This is a spot where it's just basically deer management. So we get there, and I'm going to tell you, I watch some of this stuff on TV that like Steve Rhinella and other hunters do, and I watch it on TV for a reason because I don't want to do it. And this is basically like a mini one. Like those dudes would have no problem doing this. Me, I'm old, I'm out of shape, and I have, bad knees. I have a bad back, all that jazz. And by the end of this trip, dude, my knee was gone. There's a limp to the truck at the end of the day. And today at work, it wasn't fun. I grunt and bared it and ate some Tylenol, on occasion. But looking at some of this stuff, if I ever put in for this draw and I got picked, I would just stay in a couple of spots. I do have a map. I don't have it with me. I still think it's in my hunting jacket. But, I seen a couple of spots that we went and visited, and I marked them there for, future reference. So, again, I'd known this place existed, but I've never gone and visited it. It's in a different county, and I don't travel over there unless I'm just passing through if I'm on a road trip. So it's a pretty cool place. I mean, you've seen it. You can camp out there and do all kinds of stuff. And it's huge. It's a pretty huge piece of state land. So, another thing that I'm looking at, like, they would come out there with gators and stuff, and you can hear them driving around at times. And they said as long as you got your deer to the trail, then they throw it on the gator and they drive it up to the check-in station. At the check-in station, they're looking for EHD, CWDs, things, disease for deer, and then just looking at what type of deer are in there, age-wise, things like that. And then you just take your meat home. So that's kind of the consensus that they want to do. They want to check out the herd and things like that. The things I don't like about these kinds of hunts is there's so many people. I mean, we're going down trails and, there's a dude way up there on a dune. There's another guy down in the valley. I mean, you can get Dick Cheney'd here quick if somebody ain't paying attention. This is gun season. These people ain't shooting crossbows and they're not shooting compound or longbow. So you gotta be careful on where you're gonna shoot, especially where the deer are going. Because the deer are going to be running for their lives, basically, as soon as the sun comes up. And that's what we encountered one hunter that was there propped up against a tree and asked him, and he's like, I got drawn for this hunt. I got here early. I picked a good spot that I thought was going to be a good spot, but unfortunately about 10, 15 other people thought it was a good spot. And they're coming through there with their headlamps on. They're making all kinds of noise. They're kicking up leaves, cracking branches. I mean, when the sun came up, those deer probably had an idea that something was about to happen. And, while I was just there for the short period of time I was there, man, 10, 15 gunshots sitting on those ridges. And, that you can get shot, man, if people ain't paying attention to what they're doing. Because there's a lot of people walking trails. There's a lot of people walking up the dunes in some spots to try and find somewhere where they think deer may travel and pass through. I look at this spot as, if there's a big consensus of people in a spot, I'm going to hang out way on the outskirts of where these people are, because I guarantee you people missed. I heard more than just one shot from people, so they missed. So that could possibly drive deer to you in a certain instance. But again, it might not. I mean, literally, there's deer in these dunes. We were so high, I could see Lake Michigan. That's how high they were. And there was deer up there. So I figured, during the first part of this hunt, these deer are getting shot at. They're running around. They're frantic. So they're going to try and go to a spot where they don't think there's anybody there carrying a boomstick and shooting at them. And that's way up into these dunes. And I'm telling you, we were like 170 feet up in the air, man, trying to move through here because there's just so many people down there in that area. And we did come across two deer. They tried to give us the slip. Ryan was way quicker than me. And at the end of the day, I'm already cashed out. And, he caught him going back up this dune, and he said he shot one. Didn't quite know if he hit it or not, but it slid back down the hill, took a couple of trees with it, small trees with it, and went down into this gully. And I'm telling you, it was a big gully. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I guess, if you can get it halfway up here, man, I'll try and use whatever's left in the old knee to help you pull it up here. I'm telling you, some of these spots, if there was a deer there and we shot one, I don't know how we get it to the trail. We'd have to drag this thing miles to get it down onto the trail where they can get the gator and take it up. At that point, you might as well quarter your deer up, throw it in a backpack or, tie it to you and go up there. I'm telling you, we were walking inclines like that at one point, and that's just not for me. It's not for me. And this is sand. This isn't dirt. This isn't rocks. This is sand. And I'm in a pair of muck boots. I should have wore a pair of regular boots, but again, I didn't know what I was getting into. When I'm looking at dunes, I'm looking at, not like mountains. Things that are called Mount Holden, Mount Jefferson, or whatever it was. I mean, I'll throw a picture in here. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is crazy. I was using my shotgun as like a walking stick to try and get up this hill. And another thing I can throw in here is scent. Scent control. I mean, I think when these deer get up on those ridges and you have walked constantly to try and get away from people, you're going to sweat. And when it's 60 degrees out, fat people sweat, believe it or not. And I think that was another tough thing to overcome, because once you got onto these ridges, sometimes the wind is coming from the left, sometimes it's coming from the right, and it's swirling at times. And once these deer smell you, I mean, we were sitting on that ridge and I was down almost into the gully. So, I'm trying to play the wind at that point because I'm sweating profusely. I'm like, you notice I got my ears lowered. I'm like, I'm going to smell regardless, because I'm sweating up a storm. And once these deer catch that scent, man, they're not going to come that way. And yep, all you heard was that doe blowing. And I tried to hook around this other part of the trail band, but I was slipping. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm using a gun here. So trying to hold up a shotgun and put a decent shot on a deer, man, is going to be tough, because I'm sliding and slipping. I'm sinking in the sand. And I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. So I tried to come around that ridge, and all I seen was the white butts, man. And I was going to take a shot. But again, I don't know who's on the other side of that ridge. I don't know who's going to be down in that holler. So I'm just not going to take some willy-nilly shot. That's some of the hunting that I don't like about it. I mean, if you're in a general area where, there may not be people, you could probably take a shot like that, but that's not for me. And again, the ravines in this place were massive, massive. So, I mean, the brown and down hunt was cool. It's the first time I've ever done that. It's really cool to hunt a state park. It's really hard to do. And I think if I would put in for this draw next year and get picked, I'm not going to be walking 12, 13 miles. I'm not going to be doing that unless it's in increments of, I'm going to go to this spot, and then I'm going to go to that spot. I'm not going to go and take some of these trails, because it tells you on the map, like, this is an easy trail, this is moderate, and this is rugged. When I tell you it's rugged, it's rugged. I'm talking like inclines like that, because I think it was trail 8 or something like that, 7 or 8. And I'm telling you, it's nothing but you go up this huge incline over this dune, way down, and then way back up, way back down. They had little signs called it like the 3 dune challenge. And I'm like, man, people do this for fun? I'm not into that. I'm into fitness, but I'm into fitting the back straps on the grill, not doing that. So it was very interesting. I'm grateful. I had the opportunity to go. I'm always grateful when I get an opportunity to do something. Go look at that pheasant hunt. That was wild. That was another experimental hunt to go on. So, I mean, in all say all of this experience, it's cool because it doesn't count against your tags that you buy at your local, sporting goods store or Walmart or something like that. It doesn't count against that. It's basically free meat. It's basically fill the freezer. I mean, if I got drawn for this hunt, and at that point in time when I got drawn for that hunt, I had not shot any deer that year, and I went to this place and I shot 3 deer the first day and 3 deer the second day, I probably wouldn't even, maybe looking for a nice buck with the tags that I bought from a sporting goods store or wherever you get your tags from. That's about it. I mean, some people have the capacity to take 9 deer, at times. If you're with you and your friends and things like that. Like, Ryan could have shot 3, I could have shot 3, Dan could have shot 3. It's 9 deer. Last time I checked anyway. I don't know what they're teaching in the schools. But that's a lot of deer. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, first of all, to get these deer in some locations that they're at. But then to take them home and then do them up and process them. And with the hot weather that we're having, man, you're going to do it. I mean, I shot that doe on opening day, and that's the fastest I've ever quartered out a deer and put it on ice in my entire life. That's why you only got 2 pictures of that deer. One when it was halfway done, and then the other one when we were about to, do the rest of it up and quarter it out. That was it. It was so hot, and, deer meat can spoil real quick. And, another thing that I really noticed about this place was the squirrels. Squirrels were giant. I mean, they take small kids away. I mean, they were huge. Some of the biggest squirrels I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, these aren't some of those critters that I film over there at the tree stand. These things were like small house cats. They were like Gary Gizzard's cat, man, as big as him. I mean, they were huge, man, huge. So, I mean, in retrospect,
would I do it again? Yeah, but I wouldn't do it like that. I think that's just too much for me. It might not be too much for those guys, but that's just too much for me. I'd like to find a nice little spot like by that creek and the creek beds there, especially in the high temperatures. You know, somebody might be coming to get a drink. You know, you never know. I see some wood ducks out there. I mean, there's a lot of wildlife out there in general. But that wasn't what I was that wasn't what I was expecting to go into. You know, I was hoping somebody would come out with something, and you know that last little bit, you know, I thought Ryan had really, you know, hit the spot there, and I was like, you know, kudos, man. Help those guys. They helped me all the time. I helped them as much as I could. But I'm going to tell you, man, my knee was shot by the end of the day. I'm telling you, work was not fun at all today. I think I chewed down quite a bit of Tylenol today, just to grunt and bear it. But I wouldn't do it like that anymore. But again, it's really hard to do hunts like that when there's that many people in the woods. It just is. And you know, I get skittish when I start hearing a lot of gunshots because, again, you don't quite, you know, the general direction of it, but I mean, it is what it is. So, very amazing experience. Thanks, Stan, for inviting me out there. I wish they kind of do it up a little bit better, but that's not my call. I'd like to thank my old and my new subscribers and just the people that zip through. Greatly appreciate it. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Do that for all my videos. Really helps with the algorithms, and welcome to the new people that joined the channel. Don't forget, we do have a channel membership, so you could join part of the Rohirrim and then get little perks and things like that. Maybe even a patch. So, again, like always, we'll catch you on the next one. Not on that dune.